Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? It's me, Auro Sanchez, and
Eliza Abramson.
we're very excited to be here again. Today we're actually going to be speaking about a very specific scenario that a lot of you are going through or have gone through in the past in different types of environments, which is when you're in a conversation, you're speaking to someone, right? But you know, or you find out eventually that they're only speaking to you because they want to be polite, but they really don't want to be in that conversation at all. It's happened to me, it's happened to her, to every single person at one point. Probably happens to you more than others for various reasons, but we're just going to speak about certain techniques and things that you can do, maybe to change the environment or things you say or things you do to make that conversation still successful, depending on what you're trying to accomplish in the convo. So maybe do you want to start this off?
Sure. Okay, guys. This is a really awkward situation because what happens in this situation is when the person comes and speaks to you, you kind of, or at least I, like in my head, I'm like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. They don't want to talk to me. Like, I want to talk to them. And it's just like it's hard to think of the right thing to say because you're like, this person doesn't really want to talk to me, right?
Yes.
So there's a bunch of techniques that you can use that we both use and we went over before we did the video. And the first one that I like to do is I like to say something that they're not expecting, right? Because what happens is when this person doesn't want to talk to you, they have an idea in their head of how the conversation's going to go. Maybe they don't want to talk to you because they think you're boring. Maybe they don't want to talk to you because they think that like you're too emotional. Maybe they don't want to talk to you just because they think that you smell. I don't know what it is. But what you have to do is you have to break whatever expectation they have of you, right? So let's say I come in and I'm talking to this person. They're like, yeah, the weather is great outside. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to say something that's like completely out of the box. I'm like, yeah, the weather is kind of crazy. But did you see that video on YouTube about the blah, 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 blah? Something that they're like, what? Oh, that's different. That's not what I was expecting. Because what happens when you say something that they're not expecting, all of a sudden, they have to turn on their brain a little bit. They have to become engaged with you because now they actually have to pay attention because they don't know what you're going to say. You broke their expectations. Now what happens then is they start paying attention a little bit to what you say. So you have a fresh chance to make a new impression on them. Then they have to compose a new response in their head. It can't just be a generic like, yeah, I like hot weather. I like cold weather. You know, like we all talk about that and it's like whatever. They have to compose a new original thought in their mind. Now, when you compose a new original thought in your mind, you don't really know how it's going to go over. So now they're going to turn to you and they're going to wonder how you take that thought, whatever they respond to you, right? So now all of a sudden you have a bit of a conversation going and it's a little bit more equal. It's not just, I'm trying to get you to want to talk to me. Now they're like, oh, well, what do you have to say about this? Because they want to see how you judge what they say. And then you can start building from there based off of just bringing up a new thought or a new topic that they weren't expecting. What do you think?
Interesting. So I kind of do something similar as what Eliza just mentioned. You say that you catch them off guard. Completely. I do the same thing, but Eliza doesn't really agree with me on this point. But what I'll do, I'll either go two routes. I'll either say something. I wouldn't do something completely controversial, but something that would definitely stir up a little, not a debate or like a heated argument, but like a little bit like, because now again it gets them thinking, it gets them on a different, as Eliza mentioned, on a different track. Or I'll ask them questions where the question expects a story out of them, because now I'm changing the focus from me and this is being awkward and they're just being polite to now, hey, guess what, you're in the spotlight now. You're in the spotlight. Here's a question that'll catch them off guard. And with that, they got to tell me a story with details. And people love speaking about themselves. We go over this a lot. It's a great book on this. Again, probably one of the best books, the Bible on communication, or the beginner book that you should start with is How to Win Friends and Influence People.
It's a good book, guys.
Great book. Which, by the way, guys, quick non sequitur, please like this video, like and subscribe.
Yes, please do.
Please, this helps us a lot. Pay our rent and... We're not joking, but the point is that so the point is like you want to catch them off guard, right? So I'll do this if I the times I found myself in a situation like this, like I'll ask them questions, catch them off guard. Now they're telling me a story, they keep speaking. I shut my mouth, and now when they're telling me these stories, right? If I'm very interested in the stories, I'm gonna ask some deep questions that probably people haven't asked them because they're too scared. Like if someone's saying, they didn't have a good relationship with their parents, say, really? And when did that start? And whose fault do you think it is? Now, I know it could be a little ballsy, a little like dangerous because you don't want to offend people. But I never want to offend people. I've never really had an issue with this because it's how you say things. You can get away with almost anything. It's just how you say things. So this is definitely one way that we just go with different approaches, right?
But to try out to accomplish the same thing.
Maybe try Lisa's approach or then try out mine, and it does work. What's another thing you mentioned? You mentioned something about bringing someone else in.
Yes, but before I get into that,
Oh,
if
okay.
you do want to use Aldo's approach, you definitely can. I would recommend maybe start off with mine and build up to his, because his you need a little bit more skill, because you do have to handle kind of like a little bit of turbulent waters of like, if they get like, what are you asking me? You have to know how to navigate that a little bit. If you can navigate that, it's a great way to do it, because you're going to get a very interesting conversation. You're going to get one that they remember, and then all of a sudden, not only do they like that conversation, but they want to talk to you again. So
Makes sense.
it is a good way. Just practice first, guys. Practice, definitely. The other way that I like to use a lot is, let's say I'm in like a social gathering, right, where there's multiple people around, and I'm talking to this person's kind of talking to me because they're being polite and everything. What I'll do is I'll find someone that's nearby that I know this person might like to speak to, or they're just neutral about, and I'll pull them into the conversation. So now all of a sudden it's not just like the two of us making awkward eye contact and trying to like string these sentences together to have a conversation. It's the three of us, and it takes the pressure off of each person a little bit, because now I don't have to have a response for everything they say, and they don't have to respond for everything I say. We can share it a little bit. So it gets a little bit easier. That's one thing. What it also does is it gives more perspectives. It gives more interesting comments in the conversation, because the more perspectives, the more opinions, the more full the conversation is, right? So when you have those three people, at least you can pull in as many people as you want. Just if you pull in a ton of people, chances are you're going to get lost, and then those two people will start talking to each other, and then it didn't really accomplish anything. So make sure not to pull in too many. I would say maybe pull in 2, maybe 3, but let's max
Really?
go for 2.
3?
Maybe.
I would say 1 or 2. I don't think 3.
Okay, start off with 1 or 2. See what works for you. But yeah, I like to use that approach a lot.
Interesting. Now, everything we're speaking about in these videos, they work for different environments.
100%.
Social, networking, which is more of a business type. If you're at an event, an awkward reunion with your family, right?
Yeah.
It's so many different situations, environments you find yourself in. You can apply these different things. Now, we're giving you great pieces of advice that you can take and then hone it, and then maybe make it your own.
Yeah.
Right.
And if you have any ideas, please send them in the comments. Any what's the word I want?
In the comments section.
Yeah, no, but any other
techniques,
ideas, there we go.
tips, send it our way. We want to do a very specific situation, because many people find themselves in this situation. And before we continue, please guys, like this video, like it,
subscribe, all that stuff.
Please. Okay, so going back, I really like that. Now, what if in the environment that you're in, what if you don't know who this person likes or doesn't like?
Then just pull in anyone.
Just pull in anyone, like a random person?
Yeah. If you're a little bit more of a confident individual, like I like to actually pull in strangers a lot, because then they're also like, what the heck is going on? Like I'll be like, hey you, yeah, I'm talking to you. Come here for a second. And then they're interested, right? And then the person you're talking to also, that's probably a new experience, because a lot of people won't pull in a random stranger to the conversation. And then they'll be like, kind of like, well, what's going on? Let me pay attention, right? Which you want. Or I'll pull in someone that I know, and I know that I can create a good conversation with, because then that'll build. And then the other person, if they're not really talking, they'll feel a little awkward, and what'll either happen is they'll try to get more involved, or they'll start to leave, right? If they start to leave, you gotta reel them back in. So don't let the conversation just be you and this other person coming in. Make sure that you're still keeping it all three of you.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. I'm gonna mention another one where I think the ones I'm gonna mention, it depends where you do this. Could you do this at a business networking event? It depends what kind of networking event. Maybe if it's more casual, is it more professional? Like, you have to see where you are and if you feel comfortable doing this. Because maybe if you don't feel comfortable doing it, then don't do it. We don't want you to feel uncomfortable.
No.
But a lot of times, if you do things that are not necessarily for that environment, it can either go 2 ways. It can either really hit and do well, right? Or you can be looked down upon and like you could be embarrassed and stuff. So I would say another thing is, whatever hobbies you have, reel it in or try to find a way to bring that into the conversation. For example, maybe you love saying jokes. Maybe you're into, like card tricks, coin tricks, some mind tricks. Maybe you collect stamps and you have pictures on your phone about stamps. Maybe you do
have a cute nephew.
That's not really a hobby.
That's what you say.
Okay. She's saying
I show lots of pictures of my nephews because they're adorable.
So you collect photos.
There you go.
So that could be a hobby. Or maybe you do something with Photoshop and it's on your phone. Or maybe you have a really cool keychain. You collect cool keychains. Whatever the case is, I'm just saying like random ones that I've actually seen people who've like shown random unique keychains or random unique stamps on their phones. I say this because now it adds another element to the conversation.
Creates interest.
And now you're putting that awkward feeling, it's not between you two now. Now it's actually onto something. I personally, since I was in high school, I love doing tricks, like mind tricks, like puzzles and card tricks. So wherever if I see this is happening to, or the conversation is coming to a dull, and I've done my best to use verbal body language techniques, I'll probably go to something. I'll probably do something that'll blow their mind. I say, hey, think of someone in your past. So we'll do a couple.
He's very good, actually, guys. You should do a video.
One day I'll do a video for you guys, and then you'll blow their mind. And now guess what? They look at you in a different light now. Or if there's a pack of cards, you can do a pack of cards. There's a coin, you can grab the coin, make it disappear. Well, whatever the case is, this is just another element. You don't necessarily have to do this. But to be completely honest, and I definitely want your opinion on this, Eliza, on the last thing I'm going to mention, and I just want to hear maybe you have something else, which is this. Before I go to this, like the hobbies and the tricks and stuff like that, what I'll do is I purposely will be upfront with them. So if the conversation is going very dull and they're just being polite, they don't really want to be there, I'll say, listen, I'm just sensing, I have a feeling like you really don't want to be here speaking to me. And you can either go two ways, and you can be like, listen, I understand, I'm this type of person, or you could be like, maybe a little apologetic, maybe. Don't be too apologetic, right? You're like, listen, I apologize if I came off the wrong way, but I'm getting this feeling from you. Now, the person can either just lie to you, say, no, don't worry about it, but now you know, this person is continuing lying to me when I gave them an out. There's something off here.
Yeah, but like what kind of out also,
I'm giving them an out. I'm saying, listen, I know I'm this type of person. I know you don't want to speak to me right now. And then if they're smart enough or maybe confident enough or whatever the word is.
I think that's the word, confident.
All right, it's confident, not smart. They're confident enough, they'll find a nice way to tell you, yes, let me leave. Or they'll make them an excuse to leave. So they can either lie to you or they can go and say, hey, it's really true for this reason. So I'll go with that approach and see, and I can learn what kind of person they are from their response. And now I'm stating the white elephant in the room. Is that how you say it?
Pink elephant. I'm
showing the pink elephant in the room. So the uncomfortableness, guess what, is being mentioned and said, and I just see their reaction, and I can learn from them now. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a very good way to learn a lot about people and to see, because also, you know what, it can get someone that's not interested in the conversation. Like I know, like if let's say I'm like the type of person that would say like, no, it's okay. I love speaking to you, things like that. All of a sudden they'll try to prove it to themselves and to you that they love speaking to you, right? Which means they're going to get more engaged and you have another shot anyway. It's a new opening for you. One other thing actually that I really like to do is I like to kind of create like a feeling of like camaraderie, like a buddyship, right? Like let's say I'm in a college class, right? And the professor gave this whole speech, right? And everyone's saying like, oh, so good. Like I'll walk up to someone and be like, is it just me or was his like tie like super weird, right? Something that like sets us as like a team against everyone else a little bit, right? Or let's say we're at like a business event, I'll be like, wow, everyone's here just to make money, huh? Something like that, something to just make it us versus everyone else, right? Because then they'll laugh a little bit and then all of a sudden they'll start joking around with you because you're getting into that like little like, oh, we're different than everyone else. It's us versus them, which creates a feeling of like, oh, I gotta fit in with you now. I gotta get your approval, which makes them a little bit more immersed in the conversation as well.
What if they don't agree with what you just mentioned?
Oh, then you still have a conversation right there.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. I don't really do that a lot, to be completely honest. I really don't do that a lot.
I do that one a lot. lot.
But I could see why it could definitely work, because it's like you two against the rest of the world, and
It's
you guys
fun.
are like a partnership, companionship. Okay, makes a lot of sense. Any last words before we end this video, guy?
Thank you guys for watching this. I really hope it helps you. Like, subscribe, and send us comments. Let us know if these worked for you, if you have any suggestions, anything like that.
We appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys so much. And of course, till next time.